Why can't I be a feminist and have a boyfriend too? I like this image here where they have two very masculine women and two feminized men. I guess stereotypical notions of what a modern American family should be like. Hello and welcome to The Ordeal. If you're new to my channel, I challenge all things woke. Feminism is definitely woke. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed because people get unsubscribed from YouTube channels. And please watch to the very end. That seems to be one of the main factors in determining how YouTube promotes my videos. I don't know what this article is exactly going to be about because I have not read it yet, but it is by a woman. I think that's a woman, Jessie Kollen. Sounds like a girl. Maybe Jessie could be a boy's name, but I'm going with feminist. Feminazi, we'll call her. Is it possible to be a feminist and have a long-term live-in boyfriend? Not really, no. Not if you want to be happy. As those of us who think of feminists as man-haters would likely say, of course you can't. Being a feminist makes you about as romantic as a freshly squeezed boil. That's a really freaking weird analogy. Okay then. A freshly squeezed boil, I imagine, is more romantic than a non-squeezed boil. These people may not have a clear idea of the many attitudes and concepts encompassed by feminism. Okay, we might talk about those. It boils down to this. You don't want men to have power. You don't want men to have the ability to make decisions, to do anything. For those who prefer same-sex partners, feminism and romantic relationships seem to have more room to breathe. But like me, heterosexual women may discover how difficult it can be to mix feminism with cis romantic relationships. Anecdote time. I had always considered myself an equalist, meaning I just want men and women to be equal. Dear God, I was clueless. I didn't realize just how unequal things were or how much work feminism had yet to do. But one dark and stormy night, I read a book that caused me to shed my equalist robe like a 1950s movie star about to leap off a high diving board at a midnight pool party. Well, men and women are equal. They just have different roles in society. Women seem to think that equality means economic and political equality, and that's not even a little bit true or important. It started with a very cool rooftop party, not a pool party, at the Auckland Art Gallery. The scorching antipodine summer sun was making me feel very uncool. Imagine my relief when I stood in the shade for a moment and chanced to have an interesting conversation with a man who worked in gender equality for the Australian government. A month later, the summer heat broke with a storm. I was on my couch reading the book by Laurie Penny that the Australian gender equality representative had recommended to me. Thanks, mate. You may have either saved or ruined my life. I still don't know which. The book can change everything, and for me, this one did. I became a dedicated feminist. Okay. Laurie Penny is just a horrible person. Look her up. She's a diehard feminist, and she's one of those very progressive ones too. What's more, I realized my latent feminism had been a source of most of my problems in my long-term romantic relationships with men. Imagine that. This was brought to my attention years ago, many years ago now, by a woman who's probably in her 70s, early 70s today. She said, she thought that the gender equality movement was necessary, but it ruined interpersonal romantic relationships forever between men and women. That seems oxymoronic to me now, but at the time I thought that she had some wisdom in her statement, and yeah, even today there is some wisdom in that statement that feminism has ruined relationships for men and women. As I read, my heart started pounding, my mouth went dry, and my face flushed pink. Although I don't know if that's true because I didn't look in the mirror. Okay. I became the kind of excited I get when I fall in love or hear something that's 100% true. That's a nice way of trying to cover up the fact that you think that everything that Laurie Penny says is 100% true, but you didn't do a very good job of it. Both things had happened. I had fallen in love with the author's revelatory energy, and I had found out something 100% true about myself. I had found out that one of the major reasons I seemed unable to have lasting relationships with men was this. I didn't fit the image of ideal womanhood that men are constantly being sold and women are constantly buying into. No, that's not why. Trust me, that's not why. The vast majority of men feel they're entitled to a female sidekick. I don't think it's entitlement that we feel. I think it's more like desperation. The emphasis being on sidekick, not co-hero. And the vast majority of women continue to fill that sidekick role, especially in their romantic relationships. Most people even assume that this is somehow the natural order of things. It is the natural order of things. It's not a sidekick role, though. You are in charge of the home and the children. Man is in charge of the finances. He has everything to lose in the relationship, and that's the way our society is set up. Today, that's a combination of societal factors and biological factors because women want to marry a man with more money. So even though society is changing to make alimony more equal, he who has the most money pays out the most alimony, women are still choosing men that make a lot more money than they do on average. Not always. I've pointed that out many times, but that's what women want. Women want a man who makes twice what they do. Women aren't the least bit liberated from the expectation to fulfill the sidekick role of getting married or being in a long-term de facto relationship by a certain age. Men have those pressures too. But it's more pronounced with women because they have biology working against them. Why can't you people understand this? It's biology. In fact, due to the idea that women can now have it all, a concept that has become the great nemesis of Western women and unintentional Trojan horse of second wave feminism, women feel like they should get married, birth a fleet of babies while looking fabulous, and work from dawn till the witching hour. I like how she doesn't have an editor here for till. This is not the correct form of till. Although, don't get me started on witches and what witch hunts say about attitudes towards powerful unmarried women. What about the werewolf hunts they did in medieval Europe against powerful unmarried men? I finished reading the book. I felt sad that the book was finished. Always the way with a good read. And sad that I was going to have to give up men forever. Yeah, she should have felt sad that there's such stupidity in the world. The progressivism has ruined your life and has ruined the lives of every human being across the entire planet. Okay, I probably wasn't going to give up men. But what was I going to do now? Not become a feminist? Not be a feminist? Give in to your biological urges and become a demure wife like you should be? Sounds like a reasonable option to me. My submerged feminism had been interfering with my relationships. Whenever I found a man, bit by bit, I became unhappy. I wanted shared chores, a balanced sexual relationship with my orgasm just as important as his. I wanted him to be genuinely happy for me when I succeeded, not secretly or even openly insecure about it. I resented masculine double standards. Insert your own example here. Why was I the one to cook most of the meals, buy the toothpaste, take out the compost, and organize the majority of dirty little domestic details? Well, you don't have a job. You don't have these problems. As far as, your orgasm being as important as his, well, don't go after soy boys. Go after men who actually think it's important for you to have an orgasm. Most men feel that way. Most men wear that as a badge of honor, that they can make their woman climax. You're attracting jerks who don't feel that way, who think it's great that they look down on you and expect more of you. I would always rebel every single time. I would tell myself to accept him the way he was or pick my battles. But I didn't want to battle at all. Why should I nag and remind another adult? Remind him of what? Now there's a cultural chestnut. The nagging wife and avoidant husband. Mainstream TV still faithfully propagates this old trope. These boyfriends of mine actually assumed we were having an equal partnership of two adults, even when I was doing most of the emotional and physical work. Well, then you have to find better boyfriends. Relationships are 50-50 or 100-100. You have to show up, you have to be there, and you have to be willing to compromise. That's what it comes down to. Okay, to be fair, some of my partners were generous lovers, and some were more inclined to wash the dishes than others, while some would cook but never clean. But they all had some form of patriarchal complacency. Sure, that's not just being tired from working all day. Trouble would start when I stepped outside of the gentle feminine sidekick zone and pointed out where my guy needed to step up as a human being, not as a man, just as a person in a partnership with another person. See, this is the problem. You can have a partnership where it's equal, but it's not going to be the same. Men don't do the same jobs as women do. It's different. But oh dear, nobody likes to be criticized. I had a point, however, and the point was this. Are we not two people, both deserving of loving treatment? Why should there be different rules for you because you're a man? The rules are not different for the men. The rules are different for you because you're a woman. You've changed all the rules. If you live in this house with me, is not the household your responsibility as much as mine? Yes, men are supposed to be in charge of repairs, where women are in charge of daily cleaning. And if I operate within your relationship knowing that supporting your well-being is as important as my own, shouldn't you operate the same way? Why are you getting together with jerks? Oh, because they're the most attractive? They're the best guys for you because you're most attracted to them? Because they're jerks. Women always do this. They go after the jerks, and then they wonder why the guy is not emotionally available. Because that's what they want, really. Unfortunately, men have been culturally raised to believe that their well-being comes first, and women have been raised to place the well-being of others, namely men and children, ahead of their own. Women naturally place the well-being of children ahead of their own. As the primary caregivers of children, of small children especially, their job as the adult is to make sure that the next generation lives to produce the following generation. These people don't understand biology. When my most recent relationship finally broke down, I understood with a huge heave of pain and sorrow that my romances only seemed to work when I stuck to the prescribed role of the beautiful, sexually available, but not to other men ever, quietly intelligent, occasionally humorous, nurturing, and patient female. The moment I showed myself to have more knowledge, peer respect, or education than he had, it would awaken a powerful masculine insecurity. He no longer knew where to place himself in relation to me. The resultant confusion of this identity would play havoc with our love. The struggle was difficult to name until I read Laura Penny's book. Well, in my experience, if I don't show these qualities of being more intelligent, more knowledgeable, in general, just being the confident leader, then women are not interested in me. So it's not men doing this to you, it's women doing this to men. Truthfully, I can't be a dedicated feminist and have a long-term boyfriend. It's like cocaine and baking powder. Again, that's a great analogy. You're really good at this. It's a mix that won't get you very high, but sometimes I hear this little voice already regretting the drug reference. Then why'd you leave it in? That says, are you sure I can't have a boyfriend and be a feminist too? You can, but you won't be happy. Well, my answer is nope, you can't. Society hasn't evolved enough. Yeah, we are expected to play out the gender roles we have grown up with. In my culture, the man is the leader and he must provide for the women and children. That's not just in your culture. The woman supports the provider's well-being, but we don't have to stick to these gender roles. We can all provide for one another physically and emotionally, and feminism is one way to help us do it. The feminist expectations will no doubt keep me on the outside for a lot longer. The empirical evidence of my short life and my research in contemporary culture have left me all alone in my bed most nights. By all means, convince me otherwise. I welcome you to share this article and help me gather anecdotes of truly equal cis relationships. Let's give this story a happy ending. Got some comments down here. Buy lots of cat food. You're going to need it. I know why these are cut off. I can't read these. I mean, there's a lot of longer ones and they're cut off too, so I guess we can't read these. This is a long way of saying, I'm a miserable person who drives good people away. Yep. Aaron McPherson, spot on with that, my friend. Anyway, yeah, you can't have two people who are supposed to be dominating the relationship in the relationship. One person has to lead and one person has to follow at all points. Now, that used to be the case where the woman led at home and the man led it in the workplace. And the ultimate decision generally came down to the man because he made the money and he also had to sacrifice if there was a war or if there was an intruder or, women and children first. It's always women and children first. The man goes to protect. When you wanted this equality, but yet you don't want equality when it comes to those sorts of things like women and children first. No, it's never, men first. It's always women and children. But, that's biology. Who is more important for propagating the species, man or women? Women. Because women are the ones who have the babies. It'd be different if it was like a woman had, every time she got pregnant, she had 20 babies. It'd be like, okay, well, we don't need as many women now because you're just going to have a whole bunch of babies. This stuff, it just drives me nuts. These people don't know what the heck they're talking about. This article, I think, is not exactly new. Yeah, it's old 2017. That's not that old. It was about 3.5 years old. Moving on. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time.